Maybe because of the environment we all grew up in, the concept of impossibility, the shackles of impossibility, the chains had been tied to our minds, tied to our legs, tied to our hands from a tender age. My name is Laoli Bitoye, and today on Crew 516 we'll be talking about unrestrained. And the reason is because a whole lot of us have dragged those shackles around our entire lives, and they still affect our productivity, how we think, how we reason, how we do things, even till this present day. The concept of impossibility came for me as far back as primary 1. I remember our teacher came to class during mathematics session, and we were doing the additions and subtractions, and then it was 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 2, 4, and then at a particular point in the class, he asked a question and said 2 minus 3. And the entire class was dumbfounded, like 2 minus 3, like, hello, 2 minus 3, how is that possible? And then the response he gave us was impossible. He said that word, impossible. So he taught us, gave other examples, 5 minus 7, impossible. 10 minus 12, impossible. So any number greater than the other cannot go out of it, so impossible. Hence, it was engraved in our minds that it was impossible. Now, of course, advancing in classes, alright, the concept of negatives came, and then it was 10 minus 12 is minus 2. 2 minus 3 is minus 1. So, I have a problem in the fact that introducing the concept of impossibility to such a young mind at that early stage was a very wrong idea. Although I am very grateful that there are now some advanced Montessori curriculums in our primary education that actually differs, that actually takes a better approach to that. It would have been better if the concept of impossibility was not introduced. Now, not just in our classrooms, even at home, when a task is to be done, when food is to be cooked, we were taught to cook it the exact same way it has been cooked and not to deviate from that particular procedure. So, even in our homes, ingenuity wasn't encouraged. We were not encouraged to try it out in our own unique way. We always had to add this particular ingredient first and add this next. Of course, yes, there is the place of procedure, but there is also the place of creativity and also trying it out a little bit extra. Talked about creativity yesterday, and just adding that spice of extra to that regular routine could make a whole lot of difference. So, we've been taught to do it the exact same way, to reason, think the exact same way. And those created a shackle for us. And because of that, a whole lot of us have things and we say, oh no, I don't like doing it. Oh, I can't do it. Oh no, it cannot be done. Not because it can't be done, but because we've just never considered it being done. Even if when we consider it, it's an impossible task. So now, these chains have evolved in our lives. They've evolved to the point of where in our careers, we just consider some things untouchable. We consider some tasks undoable. We consider some ventures just not possible. And they've really shaped our lives. They've shaped how we think, how we do things, how we relate with people, how we consider opportunities. The chains of impossibility, and they exist solely in our minds. And like it's been said, our lives cannot go better than the quality of our thoughts, and our thoughts will never be better than the quality of our minds. So if our minds are shackled, if they've been programmed with so much concept of impossibility and things that cannot be done, that should not be done, how then do we improve the quality of our thoughts? Our minds are our greatest asset. They are our greatest tool. To everything we consider, to everything we do, our mind is involved in one way or the other, even to the concept of sex. Yes, it's not an untouchable topic. Maybe one day we will talk about it on Pre-516. But yes, even our mind is engaged in sex. How much more in our productive activities? Of course, yes, sex is a productive activity. But at work, in our academics, in our relationships with people, our mind is very much actively involved. So when that mind has been chained, has been shackled, there is a problem. Even though we are not animals, there is a very good analogy of the elephant which was tied to a stake, and because the stake was there, each time he tried to move away, the stake, the rope tied to his leg to the stake prevented it from going further, so it stayed there. And for months, it was the chains were tied to the legs and to the stake. So when it tries moving away, the chains are there, so it realizes, oh, I can't go, so it stays. So it never goes beyond the point, the length of that rope, of that chain. So even months later, after the chains were removed, it still would not go beyond it, because the chains had translated away from the physical to the mind. Oh yeah, thinking about it, I can't remember if the analogy was actually an elephant or a hearse, whichever the case might be, you get the point. The chains have left the physical, they are now in our minds. They are now in our minds. And even though our situation and circumstances that actually taught us those impossibility mindset are gone, we've evolved seemingly from them, those chains still abound in our minds, in how we consider matters, in how we treat opportunities and things that come our way. So living our lives unrestrained is the only way we can actually express our innermost self, is the only way we can actually go beyond our limits. But before we can do that, we have to release those shackles, untie those chains, loose them. Our minds are our most important assets, and if we do not take control, if we do not set our minds free of those shackles that have been programmed into our minds by our society, by our culture, by our religion,